We're going to use the quadratic formula to solve this quadratic equation. So again, whether this equation would have the ability to be factored or not, I'm going to set it equal to 0. Well, before I can do that, I have to bring the 10x over. Before I can bring the 10x over, I've got to make this side receptive to the 10x being subtracted. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do is FOIL. So I've got x squared, and then plus x plus 5x plus 5 equals 10x. I'm now going to do two things. I'm going to bring the 10x over. I'm also going to collect like terms. So I'm going to subtract the 10x from both sides. And here's the quadratic equation that I'm going to solve. X squared, I've got x plus 5x, that's 6x, minus 10, that is minus 4x, plus 5 equals 0. Now, at this point, if this was to factor, you could go ahead and factor it. But even if it factors, the quadratic formula will always work every time. So my value of a is the value in front of the x squared, which is 1 in this case. The value of b is the number in front of the x. That's negative 4. The value of c is the number that is added on or subtracted. In this case, it's 5. My quadratic formula, I'm going to write this out so that we can plug and chug, is negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I'm now going to place the appropriate value in the appropriate place. So here goes. Negative b, this means the opposite of whatever b is. Well, b is negative 4. So when I make that the opposite, I get plus 4. Plus or minus b squared. Well, b is negative 4. What do you get when you square negative 4? Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Minus 4 times the value of a, which is 1, times the value of c, which is 5. That whole thing is over 2 times a, 2 times 1, which will eventually be 2. So next, I'm going to evaluate what is under the square root. So grab your calculator, and what we get is 16 minus 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, all over 2. I'm going to move my eraser. I have the square root of 16 minus 20 is negative 4 over 2. So I have 4 plus or minus. The square root of negative 4 is 2i over 2. And then my very last step is I am going to take this 2 and I am going to distribute it into both terms. So 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 2 and leaves 1. And there are my two solutions. 2 plus I is my first solution, 2 minus I. So my very last thing is I'm going to write this as a solution set, 2 plus or minus I.